I've done a couple of videos on how I'd start trading, and there'll be more. Just it's normally, like most things, it's what not to do. So there'll be more on that. But I thought, I was just looking through some stocks, and there's some really interesting ones. And I thought, well, why not just make a video on these ones that I'm just looking through? And they might spark your interest. You may find it interesting, you may not. So anyway, let's just jump in and have a look at some really interesting stocks. Just a super quick caveat. This is just for entertainment only. I do hold positions in all these stocks, but I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. All right, so depending on your age, you may remember BlackBerry. These were, I talk about it as if you may not know, but you may not know, but these were the handheld device after we used to get, before, so mobile phones didn't exist. Then there were these little Nokia phones that everyone had where you could text. I think it was 100 and something characters or 80 characters. So you could text. No color, no nothing. Just like those beige screens with, and then what killed, well, I don't want to say what killed it, but then BlackBerry came about, and they had this as a really interesting documentary about the birth of BlackBerry. And BlackBerry was killed by Apple when they brought out the iPhone. Literally, Apple killed BlackBerry. Anyway, they didn't quite kill them because their stock still exists. So they still do something. So BlackBerry has pivoted to cybersecurity and IoT solutions. I'm not sure what IoT solutions is, but that's what they now do. And so here's the stock price of BlackBerry. You can see it's literally gone nowhere since, this is 2014. I don't know what it did before that, but like it has these long lulls, then it goes down, spikes up, and then it went down, and it's just kind of been peaking of interest again. And it caught my interest, this resurgence from $2 to $5. I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but it's a little bit interesting. Okay, next one, BBAI. AI stock, obviously, very new. The AI-driven decision-making and cybersecurity. Interesting how they bridge that kind of gap from cybersecurity to AI decision intelligence. So again, came out, lots of interest, almost went to zero. I'm guessing it nearly went bust. Came out of nowhere, survived, and then it's been languishing with these sparks of interest. And this last spark of interest has got me interested because I have been a shareholder during this kind of sitting around at $1. And it's now at $7. I'm not sure the return I've made, but it came up on my portfolio, as it were, as it kind of doubled and tripled, and well, basically, this is like a 7-bagger. So anyway, that one's interesting. Similar vein to BBAI is Crowd. Now, you remember when they broke the internet? So that was when they provide lots of they kind of host the internet, and this big crash here was when the internet basically failed for a day, and they went from 384 all the way down to a low of 200. That is a huge drop. So interestingly, I was a shareholder at 384. I've been a shareholder kind of throughout here, and I don't run stops, so I sat through this huge drop, and I was actually a buyer into this dip because I thought it was completely overblown, this kind of crash. I mean, it almost halved. So I actually bought more as it came down. And anyway, we're back up again. It's all okay. Everything's forgiven. And we're back up above that high of around 384. We're now knocking at 420s. Similar thing for CrowdStrike as the BBAI. It's cybersecurity. Next one, OKLO. Now, I believe this is the Sam Altman, the ChatGPT guy. I can't say I like the guy. I don't know what it is about him, something about his character. I just don't like it. But I like this stock. I like the idea of nuclear, small nuclear reactors, and that's what OKLO does. So again, this, I can't remember exactly when I bought stock in this, kind of when all the interest came out about it. So it may have been in this section or it may have been in this section. But anyway, it's popped recently, so from 21 to 40, so it's doubled. And just bear in mind, so one's a 7-bagger, one's doubled, this is doubled, and everyone seems to be focused on Bitcoin. Bitcoin ain't the only play out there. There's lots of stocks and there's lots of action. You just got to look. Anyway, so that's OKLO, that's nuclear. The next stock that I found interesting, ACHR, Archer Aviation. This is pioneering electric vertical takeoff and landing, known as eVTOL aircraft. Very interesting stock. So again, I don't want to say I bought it at $3. I may have. It's now up at $9. So this stock has tripled. And just scrolling back, I mean, it's been around for a while. It's kind of where it IPO'd. It's languished a bit for a couple of years, but with all that Musk is up to, it must be why it's kind of sparked a bit of interest. APLD, next stock, Applied Digital Corporation. Now, these guys, they do the infrastructure for high-performance computing. Sounds good, sounds very relevant. So again, I'm not 100% sure when I bought in, but the low's $2 and they're at 9. So there's lots of action to be had here. Nice volatile stock, lots of movement. If you're a swing trader, intraday trader, definitely some action to be had here. Aurora Innovation, next stock. So, again, another one. It's kind of come the lows of around $1. It's now at $8. So that's an 8-bagger. Again, don't worry about the crypto, guys. Plenty of action in the stocks. Now, what does Aurora do? Aurora Innovation advances autonomous driving technology. Again, very relevant, very current. Interesting stock. I do hold a position in that. This one, Dutch Bros. So I'm going like left field here. It's a coffee shop, expanding a growing coffee chain. So my feeling here is Starbucks is dying. And I mean, I don't know about their coffees. I'm not a coffee drinker, but their tea is terrible. I actually won't buy tea from Starbucks anymore. Their food is terrible. Their presentation is terrible. The stores are terrible. This is Starbucks. And there is a wide gap now for a modern, well, let's call it a revamped coffee shop. I haven't been into a Dutch Bros coffee store, but why not, hey? So I'm not sure, again, when this one sparked my interest. It had some movement towards the end of last year and then catapulted up. So from $33 to $48, climbed up to $68, jumped again to $80. I mean, this thing's got rocket boosters. You could say it's almost tripled. Again, you don't need crypto, guys. All right, next stock that's been of interest. This one's interesting. Confluent, data streaming platform. Again, seems current, lots of movement going on, huge drops in price, so from 29 down to 15, back up to 25, spiked up to 30, went down again to 17. I mean, if you like action, if you like up and down and volatility, this thing's got it in droves. It's just all over the shop. And for me, that's how I make money. I make money in the movements. So this one has been great. Let's have a look at the next one. Now, this is my worst stock ever. This is the EWZ, it's the Brazilian ETF. It holds a whole basket of Brazilian stocks in here. And the first thing that got me about it was its dividend. It was paying, I think, between 8 and 10%. And I liked the idea of that cash flow. And again, I've done some videos on dividend investing, and I'm not adverse to it. I actually like this stock because of the dividend, and that it seemed to have a floor. So even though it paid out a very handsome dividend, because of that yield, people were willing to buy it. So when it dropped down to $22, I really thought that represented good value, and I did step in and I bought more here. I've been holding it for probably since around 2022. So I've held it all through here. I've been basically selling puts and selling calls, almost like it has been a strangle situation. I've often had double the puts to the calls just because of the way they're priced. But that's been, and then recently I've moved to stock on this trade. So again, I just think this is a very healthy play. It does seem to have a base. It does have a good yield. And if you like that kind of cash flow and kind of getting outside of the US, Brazil seems to me like a good play. Right, last one on my list. This is just a short and sweet. I wasn't sure how long it would take, so this was just a kind of intro. Basically, I've gone from A to C, and obviously there's lots of gaps in between. Well, I've got one O and one E, but these were just the top ones in my portfolio. This one is CORT Therapeutics. They develop antimicrobial medical solutions. Okay, well, the interest has obviously been because it's gone from 22, so it's tripled to 68. After a fairly stagnant couple of years, it's kind of had a little breakout. And this one also found its way into my portfolio. So if you like this kind of thing, if you like kind of stocks that I'm looking at, adding to the portfolio, let me know and I can cover more. All these ones, I find these companies super interesting. I mean, I'll probably try and look them up, where their offices are, how many people, what their turnover's like, earnings, all that kind of stuff. Because this is all fascinating companies, all very different, very diverse, exactly how I like my investing to go. I know that's short and sweet, but I hope that's useful, and maybe some of those companies will be interesting to you if you don't have the time or inclination to look them up. Spark a few bits of research for you. All right, that's it.